Bizarre Brain Comics. Dun, 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 dun. Oh. Hello, Gary here for Bizarre Brain Comics. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics and talk a little bit about the characters and the creators, and then examine the story and the art. And what I want to talk with you about this time is this book right here. This is Thor versus Hulk. Yes, the mighty Thor versus the Incredible Hulk, as if you couldn't have told by those earlier clips. This happens to be one of the few special issues that reprint issues from Marvel from 2017 in commemoration of Jack Kirby's 100th birthday. And it's called True Believers #1. Well, they were all True Believers #1. And of course, this is by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. This reprints the story from Tales to Astonish #112 from, I think it'd be 1964, and it kind of retcons some events from the Avengers #3, in which the Hulk and Namor the Submariner are teamed up against the Avengers, which is kind of odd because Hulk was one of the founding members of the Avengers just a couple issues before that, but he was too unstable. So, because everyone had been wondering, well, who is more powerful, Thor or Hulk, and who would win in a fight? So they went in and wrote did this little story that takes place in just a small gap of time within that Avengers story that wasn't covered therein. So there isn't much to talk about these creators. Everybody knows them. I mean, they are the biggies: Stan the Man and Jack King Kirby. So, without further ado, let us visit the Thor versus the mighty, the Incredible Hulk. Thor versus Hulk. Here you see the whole full cover image by Jack Kirby. Very powerful, very eye-catching, and the whole thing was reprinted on this slick, shiny cover stock. So there's a lot of glare from that. And if you happen to hear some strange background noises, that's still having some work done on the house. So that's what you hear. And of course, it starts right off here, Thor versus the Hulk. And here, Thor happens to be flying through the canyons of New York and seeing a bunch of kids. One with a kind of a poster of Thor's face, and the other group with the poster of Hulk's face. And it's just mirroring the kinds of stuff that the fans were talking about. in the letters and letter columns and stuff. So they decided to confront that right off the bat. And here the kids are arguing, well, Thor's strongest. No, Hulk is strongest. You wouldn't think at that time, because Hulk was just a rampaging monster, that he would have fans like this, but you never can tell. So Thor zips down, and this is this artwork, of course, Jack Kirby, but it is beautifully inked by Sal Rosen. And the cover too, bold, very bold. His line work, which works especially well for these characters in this kind of story, is very, very bold. And I'll let's talk a little bit more about that. Of course, the standard grid, 6-panel grid with modifications, as you can see here. Thor drops in on the guys and to see what's going on, and they tell him, well, they say we say Hulk is better. No, we say Thor is better, or stronger rather. So he sits down and says, well, let me tell you a story. And he goes back and goes back to this storyline from Avengers #3, in which they're on this glacier and coming in. And there's a subterranean base of some kind here that's abandoned, and they've modified this equipment. And they're the Avengers are coming in, and they're confronting Hulk and Thor. I mean, Hulk and Namor. So while these guys are on with Namor, here is, you see Hulk and Thor kind of going at it. But so that's basically all that you saw before. Now here he says, now there's more to this story. And when I really like this image right here, because you can see you got Namor and Iron Man here in the foreground, and then you see in the background between the figures, you see Hulk and Thor. But one of the things that I really like in this, because the strong, bold line work on the inking, and it's thicker and bolder here in the foreground, and not as much so in the background, which really helps these figures come forward and those figures recede visually. And that's some really nice work on that. And you just see they kind of hammer at each other, go at it, and Thor's using his hammer here, kind of creating a whirling, almost like a force field. And Hulk can't get through. So well, Thor says, decides, well, yes, we need to have a competition. We need to see who is the stronger. So Thor beseeches his father for just 5 minutes of a loss of his divine power. And Mjolnir is nothing, in that context, Mjolnir is nothing more than just a hammer. And Thor just possesses his own innate Thorish strength. So Odin temporarily removes that power. So it's just the two together. Boom. And here he throws his hammer. Hulk catches it. And he says he's going to destroy it. And Thor realizes, well, he might be able to, now that it's not enchanted. And he has to get it away from him so it's not damaged. So they're going at it. Boom, boom, just exchanging blows right and left, and all kinds of, just some bold and very dynamic Kirby physical action as they go deeper into the caverns, into this abandoned subterranean base of some kind. And here, this is really good. Here, just see the power of anger in the Hulk as he bears down on Thor. But Thor is quicker and quicker-witted, and their strength might be comparable or so comparable that there's little difference between the two. And they just pound and pound and pound, and it's, meanwhile Odin is watching from Asgard. And here's good. So this is when Hulk thinks he's got Thor, but Thor shows his own might here. he's able to, while his arms are pinned, he's able to just lift up the Hulk. But the Hulk, he's quick-witted enough to kind of put the kibosh on that plan. And here they are, booming, blasting, and in the process, this whole stone wall collapses on the Hulk. So Thor smashes his way through. He's concerned that the Hulk might be dead, but he still has got to prove that whether he was stronger. He said it can't end this way, and the Hulk is bored through the ground and come out. Well, Thor is making his way back. Meanwhile, their time limit is up, and Thor's enchanted power comes back, and he's right back with the rest of the Avengers, just in time for the their final confrontation there. Where they take down Namor, but momentarily. But then the Hulk has managed to get away, and then Namor got away too. But they did stop him, and that eventually led into the issue in which they discovered the frozen body of Captain America. But here it is. The kid said, "Well, which one of you is stronger?" And Thor says basically that it's still an unanswered question, because their competition did not come to. It was basically a draw. Did not come to completion. So he swings his hammer and off he goes. Meanwhile, in the American Southwest, boom, we see the Hulk stamping through the countryside, and he's always angry. He's always angry and still wanting to test his mettle against Thor again, and that's the end of that story. But then here they reprinted. There was that issue, the cover of that issue, number 3 from the Avengers, and here they reprinted several pages from that issue, featuring the Hulk Thor parts leading up to the encounter, the part that we just spoke about. Rushing in, you see a recreation of that particular one panel, and then they're fighting Namor, and then here's where Hulk and Thor, Thulk. That would be funny. Cross between Hulk and Thor, Thulk. Thor and Hulk. Kind of going at it as it was originally presented, without that time frame. Okay, and that's all I've got on that. That was fun. It's just a fun. It was something that fans wanted to see: Hulk versus Thor, and they got to see it there. Of course, they've seen it in various forms many times since then. But still, I don't know if the question has ever been answered. We even got to see it in movie Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, it's all good fun, and I like both characters. I especially like the dumb brute phase of Thor. I'm not as thrilled with Hulk. Brute phase of Hulk. I'm not as thrilled with Professor Hulk, but he has his advantages. But yeah, I like them both. I kind of like the rampaging Hulk. So that's all I've got. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, share with your other comic book buddies. Maybe they've never seen this. And remember, comics are art.